The governorship election in Kogi State is fast approaching, and politics in the north-central states is in top gear. The lawmaker representing Ikeja Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, James Abiodun Faleke, has appealed to the Governor Yaya Bello to allow Kogi West produce his successor in November 22 governorship election. Faleke stressed that zoning the ticket to Kogi West will give the people a sense of belonging and equity. Gentlemen,
well, I think okay.
Kogi State is a peculiar state that you have the Galas, you have the Ibiras,
you have the Gala, you have Oworo, you have Ogori, you have Igbira.
Okay, I'm talking about the major, the tripod.
The major groups are Igbira,
Igala,
and then the Yoruba, the Okun. So, and I think since 1992, when we had SDP and NRC, when Kogi has been producing state governors, the first governor came from Igala. That was Audu. Then, since then...
Late Abubakar Audu.
Yeah, late Abubakar Audu. Since then, up till now, we've had Igala producing, I think, 16 years, plus the first 2 years of Governor Audu. That's 18 years.
Not forgetting the demography.
Yeah.
No, they are the majority.
Yes,
they
have the advantage.
52 to 54% in terms of
the voting strength.
Yeah, and I think they have about
they
have about 9 local governments. You know, the West has about 5 local governments.
Not about 5.
Then Igbira has about 5 too. You know, then Ogori.
But in terms of numerical strength,
in terms of numerical strength, they have the Igala, they have the majority.
And Ibira,
the strength, in terms of strength, polling units, the Igala can decide, in fact, who, at all times, who will be the winner of that race. But I think after having had 18 years, I think it was a good thing. It was by accident that the current governor, Ibiraman, became the governor. If it had been not because of the death of it would have been very difficult, So I think for
another zone.
Yes. But I think for equity, because we are talking about ethnic domination at the national level. When you go to some states, it is worst, even among ethnic minorities. Take Benue State, for instance. It has always been TV producing the governor.
The Domas.
The Domas are there. The Igedes are there from time immemorial. So how would these other ethnic groups feel? Look at what happened in Delta. We have Urobo, we have Ishekiri, we have Isoko, then we have the Ikaibu. But one thing that Ibori did was that he was able to ensure that an Ishekiri person, which has a smaller population, because the Urobos are about, they have the highest number of people, about population about 2 million plus. But Ishekiri, with less than 1 million people, was able to produce the governor of Delta State, Udoagan. In Rivers, the same problem. The Ekwere are a majority, and they have the population to produce the governor at all times. But this time now, it has moved to Opobo by mere consideration of the right, that we should consider the interest of other ethnic groups. So I think for equity, for justice, and for stability, I actually think that having had 18 years, Igala producing the governor in Kogi State, and then Igbira will now have 8 years with Governor Audu there. I think it makes sense that it should go to Kogi West.
Okay, the person making this case is eminently qualified. He was the running mate to Abubakar Audu in the last election, and all of a sudden, I just read 2 weeks ago that he has pulled out of the race. That's Honorable Faleke himself.
Yeah, because I think...
because he is from this part we are talking about.
I know the politics of Kogi very well. I know Kogi extremely well. And I know that it will be extremely difficult for a non-Igala person to be governor unless it's negotiated. Or unless you happen to be at the right place at the right time. Just like Akala in Oyo and Yaya Bello himself in Kogi.
Shaman.
He took him in by happenstance. Before he now won outright. If not for that,
the dominance of the Ibadan.
It will be very difficult for a non-Ibadan person. So even in some states that are fairly balanced, like Ogun State, where while the Jebus has a majority, the Egbas also have a substantial number. For the people of Yewa to become governor, we require a lot
consensus
of engineering.
Across.
The last two governors have tried very hard to install Yewa governors, but they failed. I think Bega Daniel tried, then Amusu tried. If Amusu tried again at this particular level, because it's basically a war. But so the thing even goes down to some local governments. Those local governments, certain people. For example, I'll give you a personal example. Because today, in Atisbo local government in Oyo State, became the local government headquarters. When Atisbo was created, the other towns ganged up and decided that would be over their dead body that Tede Ndiji will become chairman. Because they said they've already had the local government headquarters. So all these parabolations can only work out if there's understanding. Because I know in some areas they will say, okay, you've done 2 terms. Let this ward do another term. Let this one now go to the Senate. Let this one go to the House. That's what they require in Kogi State. It's not really by trying to threaten or to bring out the sense of... Because normally, even at the national level, I don't like the idea that you are operating from a position of weakness and looking for somebody to dash it to you. I keep saying the same thing. I'll say that national, I'll say that states. Let the Kogi West people present a candidate that is acceptable across board, and he will be governor.
Okay.
That to me is key.
Okay. Awan Hassan is just informing me that Faleke had to withdraw because he voted in Lagos in the last election. That it's late to transfer his voter card from Lagos to Kogi because Kogi state election will be holding November, and we just had the presidential and governorship election in between February and March. Thank you.
And he also just won the election as a Lagos member.
Yeah, he did that again before. He did that before. He was in the House of Rep.
But he was contesting. It's different from now contesting as himself. He was contesting as a deputy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, my friend Awan Hassan, for that information. Now, the incumbent governor can, make a very big push for this minority, the Okun people. If you want to do that look for equity, for justice and everything. But if the governor is not looking at that direction, I wonder if anybody or any party outside the main political party will be able to make that push.
There are 2 dominant political parties in Kogi State, PDP and APC.
Yes.
There is no doubt that the current governor has, stronghold on the party. In fact, a charm grip on the party.
The White Lion.
And there are speculations that he is trying to push either his chief of staff or the auditor general or accountant, or who are also from the same place with him. That has not been confirmed. They are mere speculations. There's also the speculation that he's also pushing someone from Isonlu, who is from Kogi West. I think Ashiwaju Ashiru. Then we also have Smart Adeyemi that will understand. Maybe he's interested.
I don't think he's the candidate of the governor. They fell out.
No, it's not.
The last
but
election.
it's also.
But Smart is just doing his own capacity.
It's not the candidate of the governor. But I understand the Ashiru and the chief of staff and then in his consideration. But then, just like he has said, it's not just the governor alone. It needs to also constructive negotiation based on the power blocks, especially the Igala people. If you don't get their buy-in, no matter how strong the governor is, not that he cannot win, but it's going to be more difficult.
Now, it becomes very difficult for the governor now. Very, very difficult. Looking at his former chief of staff and his deputy governor. These guys are so close, Edward Onoja. And a lot of people will say Edward Onoja is from the Igala speaking part of the state and is eminently qualified that he might want to throw his hat in the ring. And in case he does that, the governor is going to have it so difficult in deciding who am I going to go for. They're all these guys.
The governor has a major role to play. The party leadership, let me say the party leadership, in terms of the delegates conference that will choose. So whoever wants to contest for the governor in APC, first of all, must win the confidence of the party leadership in Kogi State, including the governor. Now, what I think should happen is that if PDP decides to pick somebody from Igala and APC picks somebody from the Iyagba area, there's going to be a lot of challenges. So what the APC needs to do...
I know Dino Milaye is running.
Of course, it's also running.
PDP.
Under PDP. So what I think the current governor needs to do is to, if he really wants to leave a legacy that a lot of people will admire, to say, okay, we've had 8 years for Igbira, and then 18 years for, Igala. Let this move to other ethnic groups. We have the Okun, we have Ogori. Ogori are also very close, or Waro, in Lokoja, more or less a subgroup of Yoruba. So I think it will be, when you are talking about justice, it has to, but then he also needs to look at how he can win, not just about justice alone.
All right.
So that's why he must negotiate with
Okay, Wale, just hold on a bit there. We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Please stay with us. The Easter Monday edition of Journalist Hangout, and I still have Gani Kaide Balogun in the studio and Adewale Adeoye. We're looking at the influence of the incumbent governor, because when you look at the results for the election, and Mayasik is based on that, the House of Assembly election and the House of Representatives, the presidential election that we just concluded, you could see that it succeeded in showing that it's firmly in control of that state. It sent a strong signal, and it's meant to have will play a very big role in choosing who to succeed him. If the People's Democratic Party, if they put their house together, I don't know if they will be able to give the APC a run for their money. But as I saw a press conference now, people saying, urging the candidate of the PDP, not that's Vice President, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, not to impose Dino Milaye on them, that they have their own candidates. And they started this internal wrangling as usual. So within the APC, now let's look at the governor's powers.
Well, the governor of Kogi State has, in the last 8 years, asserted himself as a typical Nigerian political godfather, because he booked no opposition as for sweetness 4 years ago during his return leg, and he wanted to return to the governor's house. And because APC will remain at the center, APC will control the House of Assembly, chances are all things being equal, is the governor's candidate. All things being equal, that will emerge as the next governor of Kogi State. Being that as it may, it must not fly against reason that Wale has already enunciated, basically about the ethnic colorization of the states. A very popular Galaman can withstand the governor's power and another party, if not well managed. Just like a very weak Galaman.
That did not happen during the last election. Precisely. When you felt the second time of Yaya Bello was shaky, but he confronted the Gala people and he was able to win the election.
That's what I said. There are things you cannot even see on television about what happened in Kogi. But one thing Yaya had going for him was the fact that he was able to blend all the minorities together. There was a time we were in Kogi for a business trip, and those people we met were basically across the board. The SSG was a woman, and a Kogi, an Okun woman, and the woman in charge of works. So Okun people said they never did so good until they got under Yaya Bello. And maybe they are interested parties. So I think all things being equal, he may probably look in that direction, basically to create a legacy, to see what he can do. But having said that, like I said earlier, it depends on the kind of opposition that is coming from the PDP. If they present a weak or an unpopular person, even if it's from Okun, chances are the governor's candidate will emerge victorious. Because all the dogs seems to be lining up in a row for that to happen.
So anybody formidable from Okun, apart from Faleke, that obviously is out of the contest?
I think if Faleke had the opportunity to run, it would have been, in fact, a monumental intervention. So anybody that wants to come up now is somebody that really need to build his credentials. But I think that anybody that comes from Okun land we have overwhelming support from that area. Because they've never
That area.
That area. But now depends on how they're able to negotiate with other ethnic blocks, across board. And I think a good governor should be able to do that without any problem.
This rotational thing, where has it gotten us in this country?
Well, you see, ethnic interest is also part of the context of political. It's also part of the political interest. In America, blacks are talking about their interest.
APC succeeded with it with the agitation for the Southern presidency.
We are talking about credit. We are talking about the best person and all that, but it's not a traditional stool. That's only for one family. It has to go around. You can't say because we have the best, person from Yoruba land. Let him be the president. Let's just leave him. Because Awolowo. After some time, people ask questions. Does it mean we also don't have good people in our own area? So I think it's also a legitimate demand when people are saying that power should also come to them.